Rather than spending time on the president's planned distractions by talking about what he's taking or isn't taking and what he's wearing or isn't wearing, I'd rather talk about putting that aside and talking about what we have to do to go forward to open up our economy by having testing, tracing, and treatment, by honoring our heroes, by supporting state, local, tribal, and territorial governments. That's in the HEROES Act. That's why it's called the HEROES Act. There are heroes. And by injecting funds into the pockets of the American people with what we have with direct payments, unemployment insurance, et cetera, because that's what is needed. Those are the three pillars of the HEROES Act, and all three of them have strains in previous bipartisan legislation that has been passed by the Congress in recent weeks and months. So it isn't anything new. It is built on what we have worked together in a bipartisan way, except bigger. And now, in addition to that, I have four other things. I have OSHA, which we still haven't convinced them of doing. I have post office, which is essential. Over 1 billion packages of medicine went through the mail, was delivered to America's families last year. 90% of veterans get their medicine through the mail. We have voting at home, very important to the health and well-being of the American people. And we have food. At a time, SNAP and food stamps and the rest. So those are what I call the 7 hills of Rome, the 3 original pillars, the 4 issues I just mentioned that we're there to make sure prevail when we go to the table for negotiation.
I want to try to get through all of those if we can, beginning with food security, because you emphasized it strongly in your comments earlier today. How is it that food security has become a legislative challenge and it appears to be partisan when the modern version of food stamps was an alliance of Republican Bob Dole and the most liberal Senator George McGovern at the time? How can it be that the Democrats are fighting for food security and the Republicans regard it as something that they might or might not give you in some kind of legislative trade-off?
It's hard to understand because, as you know, being on the Senate side of things, those two great champions, both of whom are so wonderful, I love them both, still love Senator Dole, one of my heroes, and his wife, Ludi. But they're from the heartland of America, and they knew that what was good for the American people in terms of the health and well-being of our people and their preparedness for education and even fighting our wars required them to have good food, and that it helped the farmers at the same time. How our Republican colleagues have decided that this is something that they could grant or withhold when we're talking about people of faith. When I was hungry, you fed me, the Gospel of Matthew. How can we ignore such a thing, especially when the American people at this time are so well aware of food insecurity? Our children not in school, not getting their school lunches, breakfast, and for some, those are the meals that they get any day. For our seniors, Meals on Wheels, all of these kinds of things that are not necessarily SNAP, but part of our emergency food initiatives. We have billions of dollars in the HEROES Act. Some of it building on other support in the past, some of it greatly additional in light of coronavirus. But it's really very hard to explain to anyone. Moms have testified that their children under 12, by and large, at least 1 in 5, goes to sleep hungry at night. That's a figure that challenges the conscience of America all the time. But the time of the coronavirus, it's even worse and even sadder that they just won't support it. But we believe, as Lincoln did, public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. And we think that public opinion will weigh in and that they will support ending food insecurity in our country, especially at this difficult time.